Sorry. The letter of the day today is P for predator and prey. When the predator becomes the prey, I suppose. You know, in the summer of 2006, I was touched in a very mature way at a very immature age. I was 9 years old. Some of you probably have drawn conclusions of who the culprit may have been. But you might be surprised to find that it wasn't like a weirdo old man or something like that, but rather my peer. That peer being one of my closest friends at the time. I was 9 years old in the summer of 2006, and I woke up because I kept feeling like I was getting pushed around, basically. And I realized that something immediately was not right because my shorts were all the way down to my ankle. I was basically being humped from behind by my best friend at the time. He was the same age as well, so it really threw me off. I felt like we weren't supposed to even really be knowing what we were doing at the time. Well, him, rather, because I woke up, just kind of petrified. I didn't quite know what was going on. I didn't realize that someone was trying to have some type of activity with me. But I knew it felt kind of not right, you know? And I remember that person realized that I had woken up, and they tried to play it off as they were playing a game. And I kind of just played along, but that memory always kind of sat with me, right? Fast forward to 14 years old. We're both 14 now. We're still friends, and it's been progressively getting worse and worse. This person's just not that type of abuse, but they seem to have a fascination with inflicting pain on people and objects and animals and just causing destruction, bending rules, causing chaos wherever they go. Literally, this dude was a demon. And I remember he spent the night one weekend, the fall of 2010. We were both 14, and I think he was about to get picked up by his mom or something. And I think we were just watching TV in my room at kind of a low volume and just kind of doing the weird shuffle around thing dudes do before they depart. But he goes on and on and on, and it's just getting weird. He's literally now out of the blue asking me to do sexual favors, or he's constantly showing me adult material, and I'm just getting uncomfortable because we were teenagers, and maybe it's less questionable for some people to be showing each other that type of stuff at that age, but for me that was always a very private thing. I don't really like to talk much about that area of my life, because I really think stuff needs to be private like that. But as far as I don't know. I've never thought it would have been normal under any circumstance to even like be that type of way, even if I was like really close to them as a friend. Like, just not right. They had like exposed themselves in front of me while watching stuff and were relieving themselves when I was like 13 one time. So I think at a certain point in our friendship, they became really abusive and it created a power dynamic, and I felt more like a hostage. I finally broke away at 14 from this guy. I just told him to just fuck off, finally. And he was talking all sorts of stuff about how he's gonna like whoop me and stuff at school. And you know, I got scared. I was like a chubby kid, but nothing seemed to happen. I think me and his older sister always had kind of a tight friendship growing up, so she probably had ordered him not to. Of course, like, I haven't spoken to that person in any capacity in probably well over a decade at this point. But as far as my childhood, tight. So that happened, and then, yeah, the guy just sort of vanished, and, you know, I always sort of thought about him because, you know, he was just that type of guy, you know, like, never was out in public, hardly ever saw the dude. I saw him, like, wandering around our hometown, like, a few times in, like, the time I was, like, 16 to maybe 19 or 20 years old. But most of the time it was, like, the high school years. So finally, this man crosses my path, or my mind again, after probably months of just not thinking about the individual. I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like this guy probably would get arrested at some point. I type a name in, and wow, I'm getting a lot of hits for Wisconsin. We didn't grow up in Wisconsin. Motel. Oh man, I don't like where this is going. Underage person in a motel room with that person, 5 counts of CP, 1 count of endangering a minor later. Department of Corrections, state of Wisconsin for 3 years. I gotta say, it was, you know, it's pretty disgusting to see where, like, someone you were that close to at some point ends up in life. Unfortunately, this actually isn't the first time this has happened to me. But at least this time I can say I'm not surprised. And at least this time I cut it off like years before it would have became, you know, a thing, right? Because I saw it, I had the foresight at a young age, 13 years ago now. Gotta do what you gotta do, man. And it's just sad to see where people end up, and it's one of those moments today where, like, when you're an adult and you look back, you see all the signs. And it's sad because, you know, when we first became friends, he was a really nice kid. Really respectful, had empathy for people. And our theory had always been that something happened to him. And he kind of turned into a monster at that point. But, you know, to bring it full circle, I always used to be one of those people that kind of looked at people in this type of situation where, like, a person who abused you has been, like, you know, apprehended. Like, I used to, like, scoff at people because I always thought it was, like, petty to be like that. But now that I'm on, like, the other side of dynamics like that, I gotta say it did bring a smile to my face. And it made me comfortable knowing that person's, like, at least away from society for a substantial amount of time. And now there's definitely additional monitoring on this person and individual for the rest of their life. You know, it's just scary sometimes where people end up. But hey, this is what growing up looks like. You never know what you're gonna get. Peace.